Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. This show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire to Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am so excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 97. I am feeling so pulled in my heart, in my soul, in my gut, in my mind, in all of me to jump on here and share with you guys. I just spent probably the last 20 minutes on my Instagram looking at old reels that I had posted and created. And looking back at these videos, I was just in awe at myself. Like, a part of me wishes that I could be her. I was almost like envious and jealous of myself from the past, which is super interesting because I am now living a much more aligned and fulfilling life than I was then. And back then, that version of me would have done anything to be where I'm at now. But I just recognized that my vibe was so different and I was glowing in those videos and I just looked so happy. But the cool thing is that knowing that it's me and knowing how I actually felt in those moments, I know that I actually wasn't. And that there was actually a lot of pain behind the scenes of those videos. And I was trying anything and everything at that point to just try things, to just pretend to be positive and hope that it would change my vibe, to dance and hope that it would make me feel good, to force myself to laugh, to hope that I would be happy. And I was just searching so deeply to be happy and to be fulfilled and to be aligned. And reading even some of my captions and the things that I wrote on the reels and even just what they were about, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just in such a place where I didn't care what people thought. And I was just posting content that I felt aligned with and that I felt happy with and that I wanted to share. And what's interesting is I used to post dance videos all the time. And I'm not talking like choreographed dancing. Like, I'm talking just being silly, willy-nilly, basically like those things that are in front of like auto sale stores, those blow up things that shake around with their arms. That's basically me when I say I'm dancing. And I just danced so carefree. And this morning I took one of those videos and I almost felt like disgusted with myself. And I felt very like, oh, I can't post that. Like, I look so, like I'm trying so hard. And I feel like I just felt weird about it. And I was sitting here and I'm like, how can I sit here and look at this old content of myself and be so dang proud of me? And now that all the work that I had done has gotten me to where I am, and I'm sitting here feeling disgust. And it just made me realize that we are our biggest freaking critiques. We are so hard on ourselves because I know that back then I probably felt the same way as I do now. But looking back, I'm like so proud that I posted that content, so proud that I did that, so proud that I was so consistent. And even with my podcast, like now I'll look back at beginning episodes and I'm like, oh my gosh, like she was so cute. Like she was figuring it out and like, it's okay. And now when I post content, I'm like, that was terrible. That wasn't good enough. You should have done this. You should have done that. And I'm just so hard on myself. And I've almost lost touch with like that funness that comes with it. And one thing that kept coming up for me when I was thinking about this is think about when we're kids. Like when we're kids or even just watching kids, we don't care. We don't care what other people think. We don't care what other people are going to say if we pronounce a word wrong, or if we color outside of the lines, or if we do something silly, or if we mess up. And that is just, in a way, such a healthy mindset to be in. Obviously, with everything, there is an extent to this. But it's such a healthy mindset to be in because you're being unapologetically yourself. You're okay with messing up because as youth and as children, that's how you learn. When you do something quote unquote wrong, or if you learn to walk and you fall, or if you trip on something, or if you tie your shoe, if you do something wrong, you learn from it and you often have someone there to guide you. But what I think happens is as we grow older, we don't really have that. We don't really have people to say, hey, you did this, that, and the other thing wrong. And we are responsible for that. And I think we turn that up so high that we become toxic to self. And one of my main messages that I preach is self-love and doing things for yourself and getting to know yourself. And I don't mean self-love in the context of like self-care and taking a bubble bath and drinking a glass of wine. When I say self-love, I really mean coming back to your body, being in your body, validating how you're feeling, knowing how you're feeling, catching yourself when you're in those impulse reactions to situations and being able to pivot that, catching your negative thinking and being able to pivot that, wanting what's best for you, living in alignment, surrounding yourself with the right people, nourishing yourself, looking after yourself. That to me is what self-love is. And it's what I preach. And I'm sitting here watching these videos and I'm like, something just came up in me of why is it that at that time, when I was on this mission, that is still my mission now, which is for folks to feel a sense of normalcy with being on your own side and validating yourself and celebrating yourself and being okay with knowing your strengths and wanting to celebrate that and not shy away from it. And here I am watching that, being inspired by my past self. And I'm like, what shifted? What changed between Jessie 2 years ago and Jessie now, when in retrospect, this version of me couldn't have happened without that. And this is the version of me that I know me back then would have been so proud of. I have such vivid memories during the pandemic of working from home. I basically was isolated in my apartment for almost 2 years, and my partner at the time went to work every day. So I was pretty much home alone by myself every day, working with clients virtually. And I just remember every day my mission was to post a reel, a story, content, something every single day to pour into other people and to tell people that it's going to be okay and tell people that we can get through this and to spread kindness and spread positivity and normalize mental health things, normalize having hard conversations, normalize going to therapy and all those things. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need those messages for myself. I need to remember that for myself. And so the goal really of today's episode is just kind of getting in your subconscious mind for a second and asking yourself, have you kind of lost touch with that version of you? Have you become so numb to reality that you've forgotten all the things that bring you joy? Have you been doing the same things for so many days, weeks, months in a row that you've almost become desensitized to it? What is it that you're needing to fill your cup again? Because me looking back at that version of myself, I'm like, I'm going to get her back. I need her. I miss her. I want her. And I know that she's within me, and that version of you is within you. That past version of you would be so happy and proud of you that you're here today. Because one thing that I always say, and one thing that's always helped me, is you've gotten through 100% of your hard days. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are pumping. You're here. You're cognizant. That's a beautiful thing. And really what it brought up for me, and what I want to leave you guys with, is tapping into gratitude. I know the pandemic has really shifted us as a society. And I know that, especially in the winter, it's also a harder time with less sunlight. and just all the things that can pour into us feeling this way, the foods that we eat. Everybody's feeling isolated. I just want to spread normalcy that if you're also feeling that way, it's okay, but that we can get it back. But we have to be willing to bring awareness that it's even happening. And I guess when I jumped on the microphone today, I just wanted to pour from my heart and to speak to your heart and to your mind, and of seeing if maybe this is something you're also feeling. If you look back at old pictures of you, are you like, I miss them? Do you want to get that back? Or if not, let's say your past is something you don't want to look at. Maybe looking forward, do you think there's a future version of you that would want to look at you now and feel a certain type of way? And if you're not feeling that, how can we maybe begin to shift little things to get that back? And so I know for me, one thing I want to get back to is just being unapologetically myself and positive. I know exactly what it's like to not know where to turn, to feel alone, helpless, and stuck. My goal as a coach is to help clients from a trauma-informed perspective see your worth and develop self-belief so you may chase your dreams and trust your intuition to live the most aligned, fulfilling life possible. If you're looking to elevate your life to the next level but aren't sure where to start, I would absolutely love to connect. If you're feeling pulled or curious, please use the link in the show notes below to book your free call. I look forward to connecting and supporting you on your own unique journey. Because, and I don't mean all the time, of course positivity is going to ebb and flow, but I used to just have such a mission of every place that I walked in to just make the room brighter, make everybody happy, make everybody feel just confident and comfortable and unapologetically themselves. And lately I've been feeling like I don't even know how to do that for myself. And again, if you guys have been tuning in, you know that I've recently stepped into the role of being a coach. And that is literally my dream, to be a coach and to support other people and to be there for them and to empower them and to encourage them, to be that listening ear, to provide education about trauma and how it affects the brain and body and help them get out of those slumps that I know all too well what it feels like. And lately I've been going into those calls just so anxious and so weary and so on edge. And I'm like, why am I just in this constant state of fight? Why am I constantly hyper aroused? Why am I constantly overwhelmed? And I think that the reason for that comes back to an episode I did a couple weeks ago, which is about our window of tolerance. I think we've all just become so trapped in this state of hypervigilance and hypovigilance, which is basically hyperarousal, which is like our fight state, and hypoarousal, which is our free state. And in between is our window of tolerance. And that is when we feel grounded, we feel connected, we feel a sense of purpose, we feel a sense of alignment, we feel in our body, we feel safe, we feel secure. And looking at that past version of me 2 years ago versus me now, the only thing that I think has really shifted is that my window of tolerance has actually become smaller. All the work that I'm doing, I'm so passionate about and I'm so thankful for it. All my jobs are lining up perfectly. People in my life are lining up perfectly. But the one that is not is my relationship with myself. And the reason that I had to come on here and share this is because obviously I want you guys to be able to look within and ask your guys the same questions, but also I don't like to preach things that I'm not practicing. And I want to be transparent with you guys listening in. I don't ever want to come on here and put on a facade that I have my life together all the time and I am just perfectly happy all the time. And, life is just rainbows and butterflies all the time. Because lately, those days of rainbows and butterflies have been so few and far between that I'm like, okay, something's happening here. I know that I've been feeling more depressed than usual. I know that I've been feeling more anxious than usual. But I also know that I've felt these feelings before and got out of it. And so I know that I can do it again. And so I want to give you guys that permission listening, that if you've been feeling that, if you're sick of just feeling sick and tired, and one of my clients said this sentence and it stuck with me so powerfully. She said, I get sick of my own stuff. I get sick of being in my own way. And I was like, I'm feeling the exact same way right now. I'm sick of getting in my own way. I'm sick of being my biggest excuse. I'm sick of being my biggest bottleneck. And I know that beneath that, there likely lies something. There is something that I need to work through. And if that is you, there is likely something there. There is pain. There is something that needs validated. There is a cup that is empty. There is something depleted in you. And we have to be willing to tap into that each individually. And so maybe that's getting a coach. Maybe that's going to therapy. I know I'm going to reach out to a therapist again to get back into that role because I know that I so deeply need it. But it's doing those things that I love again and coming back and checking with myself unapologetically. Being okay with being silly and not feeling weird about it, like I'm being judged. And old me never used to feel like that. I remember wearing whatever I wanted to school and not caring. Like literally, to show an example of this, I used to wear a cow costume to school on my birthday, on my friend's birthday, on Halloween, and then also just on any given day that I wanted to make people laugh. A cow costume. Like I just didn't care. I wanted to just be me unapologetically and make those around me laugh and smile. And I've forgotten how to do that for myself. And so I've become miserable in my own head. And it's just such an annoying headspace to be in because I'm like irritated by positivity. And that is not me at all. And I think that just comes from collectively, again, feeling suppressed, feeling like I'm over pouring out of my cups and not pouring enough into myself. And that typically happens when you have a strong work ethic, when you're diving into your mission, when you're going all in on something, there's often something that gets depleted. Because if you're pouring all of your energy just into one bucket, all your other ones are going to be empty or depleted, and you're going to feel that eventually. And I think that me going through these reels and doing that reflective work for myself was me recognizing how much my relationship with myself has been depleted and how much I need to tap more into that. So I'm going to be tapping into my spirituality more. I'm going to be dancing more. I'm going to be spending more time with myself, not necessarily working, but just with myself, doing the things that I know that I love, and just continuing on this journey, because I know that I'm not going to be able to authentically pour into other people as a coach unless I tend to that for myself first. So I hope you guys take some time to maybe check in with yourself, because I'm kind of at a point now where I'm like, okay, which road do I want to continue down? Do I want to keep going down this road where I'm not happy and I'm kind of miserable and I'm feeling stuck and I'm feeling unfulfilled? Or do I want to pivot that and bring awareness that I'm sick of getting in my own way? I want to make a change and I'm willing to do anything and everything that I can while tending to myself to get there. And there's nothing more than I hope than for you listening to know that you're worthy to also get to the end of that road and make your decision. You are worthy to be happy, to get that happiness back, to raise your window of tolerance, to work on grounding yourself, work on coming back to your body and living the most optimal, fulfilled, aligned life possible. So I hope you know, from my heart to yours, I see you, I understand you, you're not alone if you're feeling this way. And I hope that this just gives you the permission to kind of halt and reflect so we can pivot our lives and grow together as we continue through the next year and through the next, time of our life. You've made it here, you've made it this far. How can we go up from here? How can we elevate our life from here? So I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. I hope you all have the best day, the best week, and I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at Jessie Brown 13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.